Several months have passed since the day the girls left Sheed. They said that they must fight against the cult of Diablos all over the world. Unfortunately, Sheed misunderstood their words and thought that they were all grown up. So he thought that they had decided not to play with him anymore, but he wasn't mad at the girls. Then Sheed remembered when in his old life he wished for magic and he was hit by a truck. Following this, he decided to continue being the Eminence of Shadow even if he doesn't have a team. When he arrived in the royal capital of the Midgar Kingdom, he looked around the city. He was 15 years old and was forced to go to the Midgar Black Knight Academy. Furthermore, Sheed thought that he was a background character, and he acted like one in order to lead a normal life. Then he went to school with his friends Hiyoro and Johnny. On the train, Hiyoro complained that they weren't allowed to live in the dorms on campus like the upper kids. Meanwhile, Sheed was proud that he behaved perfectly like a background character, and his friends forced him to confess his love to a girl. He was willing to be dumped, because that's the typical life of a background character. Then they went to school, and they saw that a boy was dumped by Princess Alexia when he confessed his love. Suddenly his friends wished him good luck, and he practiced to get the perfect background character performance. In the evening, Sheed began to blush in front of her, and he confessed his love to Princess Alexia. He behaved like a weirdo, and he was proud of his embarrassing performance. Unfortunately, she accepted his confession of love, and Sheed was confused that she agreed to the relationship. The following day, all students found out that Alexia was in a relationship with an ordinary guy. They showed him all their side eyes, and his friends were jealous that he got a girlfriend. Sheed didn't want to have a relationship at all, and Alexia showed up. Suddenly she was sitting next to Sheed, and she was being served royal dishes at lunch. She said she could never finish everything, and Sheed offered to help her finish all the dishes. So he behaved rudely to get her to break up with him, but she asked him to study royal bushin fencing with her. He couldn't refuse her offer, and he accepted to go to the same class with her. Sheed was later allowed to train in the higher fencing class, and he was aware that Mr. Zenon was a very capable instructor. Then he was introduced, and Zenon wondered how strong the new student was. A short time later, class began, and Sheed analyzed Alexia's fighting techniques. He noticed that she makes very precise and few unnecessary movements. In addition, he remembered that she prepared very well for the fight. He liked her fighting style, and knew that her big sister is famous for her wild fighting style. In the afternoon the class ended, and Alexia praised his fencing style, but she also hated his style. Alexia told Zenon about her boyfriend, and Sheed understood that she accepted his love confession because she wanted to use it to annoy her marriage candidate. He later found out that Alexia didn't want to be engaged to Zenon, and that's why he became her boyfriend. She said that she knew that Sheed only confessed his love to her because he lost a bet. As a result, he was forced to continue playing her boyfriend until Zenon gave up on her. He said it would end up badly, but she bribed him with money. Suddenly he accepted the conditions to continue playing her boyfriend, and he became her dog because he needed money for his plan to be a superhero in the shadows. At that moment, he became Princess Alexia's dog, and she named him Pochi. In the following days, he decided to have a romantic relationship with Alexia, and many boys were jealous at him. In addition, everyone only noticed Princess Alexia, and he was able to continue playing his role as a background boyfriend character. On the train, Alexia was frustrated, and Sheed wasn't interested in her problems at all. Afterwards, they were in the center of the capital and went for ice cream. Sheed wondered why she didn't want to marry Zenon, and he learned that Zenon only pretends to be a perfect man. Then Alexia said that she doesn't judge people based on surface but on flaws, and that she can tolerate Sheed for these reasons. Sheed was interested in Zenon's flaws, and she thanked Sheed for listening to her problems. So 2 more weeks passed, and Alexia said that his fencing style is a mystery to her. He noticed that her fencing style was different than usual, and she told him that she was trying to become as strong as her sister. Then she said she hates Sheed's fencing style because it's similar to hers. The reason for this was that her fencing style didn't match her sister's talent. Sheed cheered her up and said that her fencing style is boring but very beautiful. Suddenly Alexia became angry, and the train stopped. She said goodbye to him and got off the train. After that day, the relationship ended, and his friends tried to cheer him up. They wanted to know about his love life, but he said they never even kissed. Following this, he was surrounded by Zenon and 2 other knights of the Night Order. They accused him of kidnapping Princess Alexia, and he asked him to cooperate. Sheed understood that he had a big problem, and he surrendered. Then Alexia woke up, and she was tied up with magic ceiling chains. She looked around and thought that Sheed might be the culprit. Suddenly, she heard a noise and discovered a mutated monster. Afterwards, a crazy scientist appeared who planned to take royal blood. He ignored Princess Alexia's question and he took her blood. He said that the demon will be resurrected in the modern mod, and he smiled devilishly. Meanwhile, Sheed was interrogated and tortured by knights because they suspected him of being the culprit. Sheed was beaten up, and he was happy because he was treated like a background character. As a result, he performed a perfect NPC show, and the knights looked down on him. Sheed was bored and wondered how long they wanted to continue. After that, Alexia still wasn't found, and the scientist planned to take more blood from her. She said not to take too much blood because she doesn't want to die. Then the scientist complained that his lab was being taken away from him, and he yelled. Suddenly, he stepped on the mutant girl, and Alexia reminded him that he planned to take her blood. The scientist got a bowl of oatmeal and he fed Alexia. She almost suffocated, and the mutated girl watched her. In the days that followed, Princess Iris thanked Zenon for helping her with the investigation. Zenon was confident that they would find Alexia. Following this, Zenon reported that Sheed was unlikely to be the kidnapper, and he believed him to be innocent. Then Zenon said that all students are under lockdown, and Iris heard a commotion. The reason for this was that Claire wanted to save her little brother and caused problems. Meanwhile, Iris was wondering why her little sister had distanced herself from her. In the following days, we see Alexia, and her spirit was broken by the loss of blood. Meanwhile, Sheed was released and allowed to go home. Sheed was able to heal his wounds immediately, but he didn't because it wouldn't be consistent with the behavior of a background character. Then he got off the train, and a girl whispered a message to him. When he arrived in his room, Alpha was waiting for him. She gave him a cheeseburger, and she heard he was in trouble. Sheed knew that the girls had mostly normal lives, but he was grateful that they were still playing with him sometimes. Afterwards, Alpha reported to him that the cult of Diablos had kidnapped Alexia. He was surprised that she was still alive. Then Alpha said that after the case is solved, he has to take her out for burgers. Before Alpha left the room, she asked if she could eliminate the knights shadowing him. She'd said that she should just do her job and ignore the knights. Later we see Alexia, and she tried with her last strength to whisper something to the mutant girl. A few days passed, and she'd planned to celebrate this special day with an expensive wine. The reason for this was that after all the hard work, he had his Eminence and Shadow collection complete. Then he waited for Beta to arrive at his room at night. Beta saw his room, and he said that the time of the world of shadows has come, and Beta played along. However, she reported to Shadow about the new members, and he was shocked that he had over 100 followers among him. He was then told that the commanders had located Princess Alexia's whereabouts. She'd stopped her, and he showed Beta a letter. So he said he will take of the problem, and the world is theirs tonight. Later he left his apartment, and 2 knights made fun of him. They planned to beat up Sheed, but their dead comrades appeared behind them. Suddenly they were attacked, and Sheed punished them because he wanted to take revenge on them. He transformed into Shadow, and Beta admired her strong leader. Meanwhile, Delta and the other commanders began eliminating the corrupt knights, and Alpha watched the enemies from a rooftop. Princess Iris was informed that a mysterious group was attacking, and she wondered what was happening in the city. Then, Alexia talked to the mutant girl, and the crazy scientist appeared again. He planned to awaken Diablos, and he injected the mutant girl with a mixture. Unfortunately, the monster was not an X-Men member, and the mutant wiped out the scientist. Suddenly, she freed Princess Alexia, but the mutant lost control of her body. As a result, the mutant girl began to riot. Alexia was surprised that she had survived, but the main entrance was blocked. While looking for an exit, she met Zenon. He replied that the facility was his, and Alexia was angry because he kidnapped her. Zenon explained to her that he needed her blood to revive the devil Diablos, and he was attacked by Alexia. Unfortunately, she couldn't defeat him, but she managed to inflict a gash on him. Zenon was not impressed, and he showed her that she has no chance against him. Additionally, he said that she will never be as strong as her big sister. Out of nowhere, Shadow appeared, and they were surprised to see a man dressed in black.